Hey everyone, I'm still in Austria and still inspired to make beautiful videos for you. And last week there was the video about getting out of the victim mentality. And another aspect came to mind that's also very important, namely dealing with your archangels. Welcome to Soul Tapping. Today it's about the archangels. In case you're not familiar with this term, it's a very important, valuable, and helpful concept by Robert Betz. At least I believe he's the one who came up with it. Then it's also somewhat related to this victim thing. So if you feel like there's a real jerk in your life, someone who treats you really, really badly, where you think, how can someone be so selfish, so self-centered? If you're fully immersed in your judgment, then staying stuck in that judgment won't help you on your path. And devaluing someone else as a jerk is not something that lifts you up, raises your vibration, or makes you healthy, but rather, turning it around in your head and evaluating it differently is what makes you healthy. And that's why I find this concept of the archangel really helpful, because Robert Betz says every person who appears in your life and behaves like a jerk is, in reality, an angel when viewed from a higher perspective. And that's because they push your buttons, your pain trigger points. And by doing so, they give you something very, very valuable, the chance for healing and awareness. So every time it hurts you when someone behaves badly, they give you the opportunity to become aware and stop. Ouch, something hurts inside me. Just because they said that now, why does it hurt so much inside me? What kind of pain is that inside me right now? And then you become aware and have the chance to heal. The 3 keys of awareness, gratitude, and love. Awareness is the first and most important step. Mindfulness. So be mindful when there's a jerk in your life and realize that they are actually an angel. Because everything you've suppressed for yourself, all the pain you've swept under the rug, this jerk comes along and lifts the rug. And there's the dirt, there's the pain you've pushed under there. Then you have the chance to hear it. Because as long as it's under the rug and you don't see your past pains, you can't heal them either. You need someone who comes along, behaves badly, and thereby gives you the opportunity to become aware of it. To make you aware of everything in your life where things are still stuck. Because what you notice is only the effect. That you feel depressed, that you feel unmotivated, that you feel sad, whatever it may be. That is the effect. But you only find out the cause by allowing it to come up. That's why you should allow the jerks of this world to really hurt you. Because then you have the chance to address that old pain, to clean it up and heal it. And that's why. Just observe it in typical situations. Someone said something mean, which they might not have meant that way, but you perceived it as such. Or the colleague with her snippy remark, or she bullied you, or the ex-partner who put you down again. How fat do you look in that dress? Whatever. Whatever those situations are in your life. Make yourself aware. Stop. Pause. What is this really about? Observe yourself while thinking. Observe your automated, trained reaction pattern and watch from the outside, how am I actually reacting right now? Somehow something hurts there. I feel offended, I feel insulted, I feel sad, I feel powerless. Depending on what type of person you are. There are also different types of people. Some go on the offensive. Have a need for revenge, like I'll show them, and then they insult back and give it right back. But some tend more towards retreating into their own shell or, in extreme cases, even self-harm. So they take what the other person says completely at face value and totally believe that they are a bad person or whatever. So that's when beliefs come to light when someone else says something insulting. Some kind of belief like, I am bad, I am embarrassing, I am incapable, I am stupid, ugly, or the whole world is evil. There are only evil people out there. They all want something from me, and so on. And all these beliefs want to be confirmed. We have this part within us, this ego mind, which is constantly busy trying to find out if our beliefs are still true. So it wants to be confirmed. And that's how you've attracted these asshole angels into your life. You believe that they are right. Then you think, yes, my belief is true. First, the people out there are evil. Second, I am really bad or something like that. And this is a huge opportunity to pause instead of applying techniques and to notice. First key, awareness. What's happening inside me? What am I thinking? What am I fearing? Am I seriously in the process of putting myself down? Am I even hurting myself just because someone else hurt me? Stop. What kind of old pattern is this? Do I want to continue this? What is this really about? That was my first question in the video with the what is this really about? This isn't about you actually being stupid or the other person being a jerk. It's solely about you having a healing situation, a healing opportunity here. And because of that, it's a huge gift, and the jerk is an angel. Second key, gratitude. Be grateful that this person behaved so inappropriately that it hurt you. Because of that, you were able to apply the first key and enter this healing process. Awareness, gratitude, love. So don't blame the jerk, but be grateful that life sent you this angel. It's really hard at first, but you can practice it, and then you'll succeed earlier each time. Sometimes it still takes half a day or a whole day, and only the next day, when your anger or hurt has simmered down a bit, you might be able to realize, well, maybe he also had this or that reason. And that doesn't work at the beginning. But the more often you practice it, the faster it goes. And then eventually it happens immediately within 2 seconds. When someone pushes your button and you immediately realize, what an angel with a bad attitude. Okay, good, thank you. Thank you for the learning opportunity, and I still love myself. Again, Hamidam. Third key, love. Go into self-love. You don't have to love every jerk in your life. That is the highest art. Jesus demonstrated it for us. He could do that. I believe only a few people manage to love their enemies. But go into self-love. That is the third most important key to healing. Even if I reacted there, even if I encountered such a jerk, even if I'm still stuck in my old pattern of calling them a jerk and haven't yet managed to see them as an angel, I still love myself, and I love and accept myself as I am. These are always the phrases we say when tapping. Very important. Even if I encounter this jerk angel now, I love and accept myself with all my patterns. And I love myself already, not just when I have resolved my patterns. It's important that you keep telling yourself this, and then you can look, okay, what button did this jerk angel press? What old issue is behind it? In reality, it's not about the guy, but rather that something in you, in your subconscious, is reminded of something from the past, which you probably know well from your parents. Or maybe a brother, sister, someone who used to always say something insulting to you. And that's why it still triggers you today, because it's an old pain. So, if you become aware of what old issue is really behind it, the guy was just the button pusher. It's about the button. When did it originate? What was there and who was it? And then you can move towards healing. And then you should also be aware that other people who behave like jerks have a reason for it. Because a person who is completely in self-love, who is happy and content with themselves in their life and has no problems, would never behave like a jerk. You can assume that every person in the world has a wounded inner child within them, not just you. Everyone has their stories. Everyone experiences their life through their own personal lens. Then, if the jerk really behaves like a jerk, it's not because of you, but because you've pushed his buttons. You are each other's jerk angels. So you are also a jerk angel. And this isn't meant in a bad way, but rather, look at it from a higher perspective where you are both angels. You help each other. Notice and heal your patterns. On the path to healing and further development, you are angels to each other. Perhaps through your behavior, you caused the other person to dig up an old pattern from their childhood. And maybe he was someone who, as a survival pattern, went on the offensive and insulted others. And you might have been a child who tended to go on the defensive and withdraw or something like that. And you two have now perfectly met each other through the law of resonance. Such resonance stories happen all the time in life. Become aware of them, and then you can forgive more easily. You can forgive the other for their pattern, and you can also forgive yourself for your pattern, because you realize there are two wounded children who have just met, each in their own way. There are no coincidences. Life is perfect. It brings the perfect people together, sometimes painfully. Asshole angels are not something bad in your life. On the contrary, it's just uncomfortable. Yes, it's damn painful. But maybe for the other person too. And that's why you should internally move towards forgiveness. So, for example, there is also this Ho'oponopono. Maybe you know it, this forgiveness. It is a Hawaiian, ancient, traditional forgiveness ritual that you can do alone for yourself, or even with the other person. Probably more likely alone for yourself, by saying 4 sentences to yourself over and over again. Can I still remember them? I think, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. These are also the keys to healing. If you keep repeating these 4 sentences to yourself over and over again, you will slowly reach an inner peace. And if you tack while doing it, it's even better. Because then it goes faster. You get into the feeling more strongly and quickly, but also get out of it just as quickly. You find it easier to forgive and find peace. And if someone has done something really, really terrible to you, then I can only recommend listening to the short story by Neil Donald Walsh, The Little Soul and the Sun. It's available as a beautifully narrated audiobook with great music in the background. I found it somewhere on YouTube. I can't tell you which channel it's on. Just search for it. It's such a beautiful story. That makes it clear that from a higher perspective, from the soul's perspective, we are all here to perform acts of love for each other. By giving each other the opportunity, for example, to experience something like forgiveness. We can't do that out there. From where we come from, on the divine angelic level, whatever that may be, we cannot experience such things. We don't know what forgiveness means because there are no evil people there. So malice, all that kind of stuff, and injuries and pain, none of that exists there. That only exists here on earth, in the dual world. Here, we can experience that. And that's why we, as souls, give each other the gift of doing bad things to one another, so that we then have the opportunity to experience what it's like to forgive the other and find peace. To me, that feels completely right. I believe that's why we're here, among other reasons. Feel free to listen to it again and also write to me in the comments how you view this, or if you've ever encountered a real angel in disguise, or if you've perhaps managed to see someone as an angel who actually behaved really badly. Share your experiences with me. I would be very interested in that. Okay, my dears, if you liked the video, feel free to like it, share it, or subscribe to my channel. As always, I would be very happy about that. Also, feel free to check out my website if you ever want to have a tapping session with me. Maybe my online course is also something for you, a collection of tapping rounds where you can independently learn EFT. For example, if you don't want to wait for an appointment, as there is always a few weeks of waiting time. You can teach yourself EFT, the tapping, and start working independently on your depressive issues. Now I wish you a wonderful day. Take care. Goodbye.